One of the newer pieces of technology that has now become more publicly available is the phenomenon of 3D printers. This technology is most fetishized by anarcho-capitalists or libertarians who believe that the production of commodities with a device that you can own in your own home has the power to potentially break the monopolistic powers of the not real capitalism of corporations. And many have made such fantastic claims that it's going to cure poverty. But the truth about 3D printers is that economically and socially, it is much more complicated than they are letting us know. Take this for example. An Italian company believes they have come up with an idea to mass produce housing cheaply for those in impoverished countries. It is a new design by a company called WASP, World's Advanced Saving Project. It is a 3D printer capable of being transported easily, is about 6 meters or 19 feet tall, and can be assembled in about 2 hours. The claim by the company is that it can produce livable huts out of natural materials such as mud or clay. The hut is made using a new triangle shape, as opposed to the traditional square block technique that allows it to bear more weight than it normally would. The company claims that the money that they make from the commercial sale of these printers will be used to fund a project to improve the lives of hundreds of millions. Now, I like to think that I've been around a little while, so I've seen a lot of these gimmicks that supposedly are going to take care of poverty globally. One of them is the soybean. I remember in the early 90s when the soybean really broke onto the scene and people started to realize the potential of the plant, that it was going to take care of global hunger, and that once we got this plant rolling, that was going to take care of everything. I mean, it seemed logical. The soybean is easy to grow, it has a lot of protein, and it has a ton of uses outside of food. But the reality is, these decades later, world hunger is still pretty rampant. And it's starting to get worse. Well, a lot of it having to do with the phenomenon of global warming. And of all these gimmicks that have come up in the decades or even the last century that were going to cure poverty, that were going to take care of impoverishment, how many of them actually solved the problem that they claimed they were going to deal with? The primary reason why they don't is due to the economic environment, that being capitalism. The one thing that people always forget in these cases is the need for profitability. They have a technical solution for the physical problem, but it is the economic aspect that prevents it from fully realizing its potential. That problem is profitability. Nothing in capitalism can really function without being able to turn a profit. These huts are essentially charity by WASP. They'll be using the profits to fund the project. Given that it is one company, they probably won't be doing very much, even if it is the second largest 3D printing company in Italy. If, on the other hand, they were produced for profit, for those who could afford it, the problem would be solved quickly. The problem is that Africa is poor. Remember why charity exists: to do what capitalism already can't do. So why aren't 3D printers going there right now? Well, the simple reason is profitability. These devices are going to go where the money is. And right now, that's to very large corporations who use them for model building, for developing any products, and towards first world people, particularly anarcho-capitalists who want to be able to print a gun out from under the eye of the US government. This is what the market has dictated because they have the money to control the product, to decide where it goes because of dollars. These things, building models for large corporations and getting guns out from under the eyes of the United States government, is what society, the distribution of social value that it is, has decided where those machines go, as opposed to having these machines just actually produce the use values for people who really need them. This lack of an ability to produce technology for need as opposed to profits is why we have state investment. If profitability is not present for the production of a desired use value, then it will not be produced. Research and development is affected the same way. Some of the greatest achievements of humanity were made possible only because of state-funded research and development. GPS, the internet, infant formula, the barcode, the microchip, many life-saving vaccines, laser eye surgery, satellites, and space travel. The one main point that I feel needs to be made here, regardless of whether or not this plan by this Italian company works, and it's not going to work because we've heard this gimmick many, many times before. The reason we have to do this charitable action to get housing to people in Africa, which these 3D printers print housing out of mud, which is exactly what they make homes out of now in the most impoverished of areas. So I really don't see what the benefit is to spending the money to get this, really portable 3D printer there, not to mention the insane, complicated problem of getting electricity into the thing. But aside from that, the reason we have this problem to begin with, the impoverishment in Africa, is because of capitalism itself. Because we have a global economic system designed to create commodities for their exchange value, meaning exactly what they can be sold for, as opposed to what need they can be fulfilling. In other words, their use value. It is this contradiction, one of the central to capitalism itself, that creates the impoverishment that it is that we see. We have a system that specifically designs its production for profits, that it will only go where that money is. Thus, the actual use of it is only incidental. The fact that anything can get to someone who needs it is only incidental to the entire production process. And then when you have this on a very large scale, a system which perpetuates inequality, you're going to end up with great poverty like this. It is this kind of production that keeps the necessary commodities out of the hands of the global poor, because the wealth is concentrated in the first world due to its theft of value that it carries out every single day. The problem here is capitalist imperialism. This poverty is not going to end until capitalism does, a system designed to produce for profit, not for human need. No amount of 3D printers is going to bring about the abolishment of poverty. That can only happen when we take care of the problem, the source of the poverty, and that source is capitalism itself. Thank you for watching. Please comment and rate the video. If you liked it, hit subscribe or check out some of these other great videos. If you wish, share it on social media. While you're at it, why don't you follow me on Twitter? And if you got time, go on over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.